Don't let YouTube decide what information you get. That's your choice. YouTube is deleting our videos and cuts you off from a source of honest reporting. Make sure you don't lose access to NTD's news content, and take a quick moment to subscribe to our newsletter so no matter what happens here, you'll keep your access to a trustworthy news source.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis spoke in West Palm Beach on several issues surrounding election integrity. He says Florida will create a separate office dedicated solely to investigating and prosecuting election crime.
As people know that Florida stands for freedom.
Governor Ron DeSantis spoke before an energetic crowd in Palm Beach County, Florida. He talked about how the state of Florida was not always able to respond immediately to reports of election crimes. So now DeSantis is planning to create an office solely to address the issue of election crimes.
There'll be specialists. They're going to understand what's legal, what's not legal. They're going to have the ability to investigate any crimes involving the election, and I think that's going to be something that's very, very important.
He also wants to increase the penalty for ballot harvesting from a misdemeanor to a third-degree felony. Then he stressed the importance of keeping accurate voter rolls.
Ballots, in California, they send ballots to everybody. So if you've ever lived in California, there's people that haven't lived there for 5 or 10 years, and they're getting ballots sent to them. And that's all because the voter rolls are not updated.
DeSantis says Florida has a requirement to update voter rolls, but it doesn't specify how often that needs to happen. So he plans to impose timeframes for when the voter rolls must be cleaned up.
And so what we need now more than ever with all the stuff that's going on is we need people to stand for the right things, but they need to stand up and they need to display courage and backbone and not back down in the face of all the things that we have to deal with. And so,
at a press conference on Tuesday, DeSantis reminded everyone that Florida banned grants to local election offices from tech giants like Facebook, the so-called Zuckerbucks, and he spoke about big tech's influence over elections. DeSantis says he wants people to have the right to stand up against big tech and be able to sue those companies if they are censored.
And officials said today the elections director in Georgia's Fulton County, which has been under intense scrutiny for its handling of elections, will step down at the end of the year. The county, a Democratic stronghold, has a history of problems and has long been a target of Republicans who have complained of sloppiness and mismanagement. And in New York, people were protesting vaccine mandates today. The protest was part of the so-called worldwide walkout initiative. Demonstrations are being held across multiple cities. NTD's Ariane Pazdar was on the ground in the Big Apple.
New Yorkers keep protesting different vaccine mandates. This protest today is about vaccine mandates for children. So the people here got together in front of Manhattan City Hall, and they're saying children should not be forced to get the shot.
We, the people, will not comply!
The New York State Senate is looking at a bill that would add the COVID-19 vaccine to the list of mandatory shots for school children. Right now, kids already have to get a number of shots for diseases like mumps, measles and more in order to be allowed to go to school.
If that happens, then she'll be out of school. I'll homeschool her, definitely.
All the things that they are advocating, that probably goes furthest in being dangerous.
Another demonstrator said there are things more dangerous for kids than COVID.
More children were shot in Chicago than died of COVID in the United States since the pandemic started. So does every child wear a bulletproof vest?
Supporters of vaccine mandates for children say that children can get the virus and spread it to their family, who can get very sick. But protesters argued that vaccinated people can still spread the virus. And a study published by medical journal The Lancet supports their claim. The study's findings showed that ongoing transmission had occurred between fully vaccinated individuals. Ariane Pazdar, NTD News, New York.
California is starting to vaccinate its youth population. 5 to 11-year-old children are being vaccinated, but one county sheriff criticized the state's continuous push for vaccine mandates. NTD's Cynthia Kai reports.
California is now offering vaccines to children aged 5 to 11. This move follows the FDA's recent emergency use approval of Pfizer's pediatric vaccines, which are 1/3 the dosage of vaccines for people aged 12 and older. Some children received their first dose of the vaccine today in Santa Clara County.
the vaccine doesn't hurt. It was so quick.
One little boy said the shot looked scarier than it felt.
It feels like a little bit hurting when I got the shot.
A Santa Clara County medical officer said vaccination clinics could soon visit school campuses.
The public health team operates multiple mobile clinics, and starting tomorrow they will be visiting multiple schools in our highest risk communities where parents may not be able to take time off work but have consented for their children to get vaccinated.
Earlier last month, California became the first state to require COVID vaccines for in-person learning after a vaccine receives full FDA approval. However, the Los Angeles County Sheriff criticized the push for vaccine mandates.
I think we need to start slowing down this whole business about the mandates. And I'll give you a prime example. The nation of Israel has the highest, I think, a COVID, vaccination rate in the world, and is one of the highest infection rates in the world.
Villanueva claimed that facts and science do not support vaccine mandates. Cynthia Kai, NTD News, California.
New York City is getting ready for the holiday season. Times Square is unveiling 4 giant snow globes inspired by some of Broadway's most popular musicals. NTD's Chenny Wu has the details.
Times Square is shaking up the holiday season with giant snow globes.
The unveiling of the globes celebrates the return of Broadway after closing for 18 months due to the pandemic.
Times Square was symbolic of the pause in the pandemic, and a robust, filled Times Square is symbolic of our resolve and our recovery.
The globes feature 4 Broadway shows that are on stage now: The Lion King, Dear Evan Hansen, Wicked, and Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations. The unveiling included a live performance from entertainer Mark Nadler. And fans got to meet members of the vocal group The Temptations. Tourists and New Yorkers can catch the festive globes on display until December 26th.
And they're even giving out free donuts. Chenny Wu, NTD News, New York.
To reach net zero, countries differ in their opinions regarding nuclear energy. While some, like Germany, are phasing it out, others, such as the UK, consider it an important part of their energy mix. In Glasgow, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency makes the case for nuclear. NTD's Eddie Aitken brings us this report.
Amid rising energy prices and efforts to cut emissions, the head of the UN Nuclear Agency touts nuclear power as a way to balance the world's climate concerns and energy needs.
We're not saying this is a panacea, let me also be clear on this, but it is an indispensable element in the mix.
He was speaking during a press interview at COP26 in Glasgow on Tuesday. On the plus side, nuclear power stations release almost no CO2, and they provide a steady supply compared to the fluctuations from wind or solar energy.
When you're looking about your energy, your ideal energy mix, you need stability, you need base load, and you need the capacity to power your economy 24/7 without any interruption.
While some nations like Germany are phasing out nuclear, others such as Britain, France and the US consider it an important part of their future energy mix to reach net zero. Many environmentalists have long been opposed to it, largely because of the potential for accidents and the issue of nuclear waste. Grossi said he's seeing fresh interest in a nuclear option.
What is clear is that in the societal mood, we see curiosity, especially in the younger generations that do not perhaps have this burden, this cultural burden of some in the old ecology movement that would consider a priori nuclear as something bad.
Grossi also points to the possibility of developing energy from nuclear fusion technology. He said a demonstration unit should be built in 4 to 5 years.
And of course, if we get to fusion, places like COP26 might not even be necessary because it will be a perfect source of energy.
Eddie Aitken, NTD News.
A ballot question has been recently filed in Minnesota calling to replace the city's police department. Results as of Tuesday night show voters have rejected the plan. The proposal came 17 months after George Floyd was killed in the city, sparking a nationwide outcry for change. This ballot measure has its roots in the Abolish the Police movement from last year. It would amend the city charter and remove language requiring a minimum staffed police department. Instead, a new Department of Public Safety would play its role. Supporters argued that a complete overhaul of policing is necessary to stop police violence, while opponents contended the proposal featured no plan of action and would impact crime-stricken communities at a time when crime is on the rise. Some 56% of voters cast a ballot against it. China's internet censorship is in full swing. That's after a famous tennis player accused a former Communist Party official of sexual assault. NTD's Evelyn Lee has the details.
First, we turn to a sexual assault allegation that shocked China's internet users. It's causing waves because the country's party officials have rarely been called out by alleged victims for this kind of abuse. And in this case, the accuser is one of China's biggest sports stars, Peng Shuai. She was world's #1 tennis doubles player in 2014. As for the accused, he used to be one of China's most powerful men, the country's vice premier. His name is Zhang Gaoli. In a social media post, Peng accused Zhang of assaulting her about 3 years ago. She says the two then had a 3-year relationship afterwards. Peng is 35, Zhang is in his 70s. Peng wrote that she didn't keep any evidence of the assault and only has her real experience, adding, "I know for someone as powerful as you, Vice Premier Zhang, you said you're not afraid. But even doing this is like hitting a rock with an egg or moth to flames courting self-destruction. I'll tell the truth about you." China's internet censorship mechanism soon took action. Peng's social media post was removed within minutes, and internet users can't comment on the older posts on her account. In the meantime, Chinese media is staying silent, and the internet surge of related coverage on China's largest search engine Wednesday returns no result. In a press conference, a reporter asked China's foreign ministry about the censored allegation.
The allegations and subsequent discussion of them have all been censored from the internet. Do you have any comment to make on the allegations or on the censorship?
And China's foreign ministry spokesperson responded.
I have not heard of this issue. This is not a question related to foreign affairs. Next question.
Aside from all the buzz, a China observer says it's no coincidence that Peng chose this timing to break the news.
I think she has her eyes on the political infighting between party elites, and for her, it's an opportunity.
Sheng says bringing out the allegation at this time is safer for Peng Shuai because Zhang belongs to a political faction that's rival to party leader Xi Jinping, and a sexual assault allegation would be useful for the Xi faction to crack down on its opposing faction. And the timing is important because all the party elites are expected to convene for a big political meeting in November. And in Chinese Communist Party history, leaders have used big meetings like these to consolidate their power.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Don't forget to catch all of our programs on TV. NTD Evening News is on every weekday at 6:30 p.m. Find your local NTD channel at ntd.com/TV.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. There's reporting that can be trusted. There are programs that can inspire every generation. There is a television network worth watching and sharing. Our commitment is to bring you the facts and to show you the world. We won't be divided by politics, and we won't be swayed by the dollar. We believe in the strength of our nation and the hope in our shared humanity. We are NTD Television, and we are proud to bring you news you can trust and programs that make you smile. NTD Television, news you can trust.